All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. First time buyers webinar. It's the first time we're doing this, and it's a lot of great content for you guys. It's going to be a great event. We got Tristan Purcell with Snap Home Loans here on the line with us. He's going to discuss about the lending side of everything. He's here to do that. Once again, my name is Rich Jackson, Realtor, Real Estate Rich Sales Team. I got member of my team, Mario Pinedo, with the Real Estate Rich Sales Team as well. He's going to be here, answering questions, and got a great event for you guys. Really excited. So we're going to get started into the basically, the home buying process. Basically, guys, everyone's always, wants to know how to get started with 8 steps to buying your home. So the very first step of the buying process, like I tell all my clients, is actually meeting with the loan officer that's going to pre-qualify you for basically a mortgage, a loan, a home loan. That's the very important step right there, because that process right there is going to save you a lot of time when you're out home shopping, and most of all, you can't make an offer on a house unless you have a pre-qualification letter. So with that's why it's very, very urgent that you meet with the lender, loan officer, whether it's one that your realtor or someone recommends you, or a loan officer that at your bank. You could definitely go in there and basically get your pre-qualification going. So I have Tristan here on the line as well, and he can go a little bit deeper as far as how important that step is. Before we go on, this is what could happen if you don't. So if you go out looking for houses and you don't have your pre-qualification letter, what usually happens, you'll find the house you love, but you can't make an offer on it because you don't have a pre-qualification letter. So it's best to really be ready and prepared to go once you get that pre-approval. So Tristan, you can kind of chime in a little bit on that if you want. Okay. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna put on the screen, guys, just a sample of a pre-approval letter, and this is something that you're gonna get from your loan officer once you get pre-qualified. So here we go. So right now on the screen we have an example of what the pre-approval letter would look like once you do get pre-qualified. And Tristan, I'll let you take it from there as far as how important this letter is in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. So when as Rich mentioned, the first thing to do is talk to a loan officer. Most people, obviously, they can't, they don't have the cash to buy a, $200,000 or $300,000 house. They have to borrow the money, which happens a lot. So, yeah, the first thing to do is talk to a mortgage professional like myself. And I know it can be a scary process, or it sounds scary, but realistically, you want to get with a loan officer and basically go through the loan application, right? Like I like to go through the loan application together with the client on the phone. That way I can ask questions and they can ask questions as well, and we can get all the information we need. It's sort of like one of those things, the more information you give your loan professional, the better answer that they can give you. And I know it sounds scary, but it's part of the process, right? And a lot of times we meet people that think they're not going to qualify, but they actually do qualify, and it works out to be a great transaction, and they get into a home. So that does happen quite a bit. So a lot of people are just going to have to get over their fears and talk to a loan officer. It's really not that big of a process. Normally we can qualify you within, maybe 10 to 15 minutes over the phone. We do the loan application. We go through your income, we go through your job history, a couple other little things, maybe your address history, what kind of house you want to buy, what your budget is. And then we need to check your credit report, right? And there's a big misconception with checking credit. Everybody thinks, oh my goodness, if you run my credit's just going to drop like a rock, right? And I know that's a scary thought, but it's a myth. It's not really true. So running your credit 1 or 2 or 3 times within a short period of time for a mortgage specifically will not drop your scores. What will drop your scores, and I tell clients this every day, and it's the truth, is if I run your credit on a Monday, and then you go to the car dealership and they run your credit on a Tuesday, and then you go to Home Depot and get a credit card and they run your credit on a Wednesday, that's what's going to drop your credit, because the credit companies, or the credit, the scoring model, right, of Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they know that you're just trying to go crazy opening all kinds of credit, a house, a car, a credit card, and that's what's going to drop your score. But pulling your credit one time for a mortgage pre-approval is not going to drop your score. So yeah, extremely important. You know, what we do, we go through your income, we'll go through your credit, we'll go through your assets, we'll talk about how much money you have to have for the down payment, the closing costs, and then, you know, normally if everything looks good with the application, the credit, then we'll just request some documentation from you. Basically, W-2, pay stubs, and bank statements if you are just a normal W-2 employee. If you're self-employed, we really start with the taxes, because self-employed people, really all we can go off is the taxes. So it's important to remember that. So, but that's sort of the process.
Yeah, and Tristan, let me ask you, do you recommend, you know, sometimes they say seek at least 2 different loan officers to get a different quotes and things like that, to get different rates? Or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and different lenders, not all lenders are the same, right? Not all lenders are equal. They're not equal on rates. They're not equal on loan products. So definitely it is in the home buyer's best interest to talk to a couple people. And we've ran into plenty of people who, you know, one lender said no, but we taken a look at the file and say, hey, look, we have a loan product, or we have the right interest rate where you can qualify. Or a lot of times it comes down to skill, believe it or not. Like, it comes down to, you know, we would definitely look at files where one loan officer at one company has said no, but we look at the file and say, well, you know, did the loan officer at the other company use your overtime income? Did they use your commission income? Did they do the research on your job type and your income so they can give you more? Did they talk about gift funds? Did they talk about a cosigner? You know, did they say, hey, do you have anybody who can cosign for you? So a lot of it does come down to skill and effort. You know, the effort putting into the client that may not have qualified somewhere else, but we can look at the file maybe a little differently and ask the right questions to where, you know, we can pull off a pre-approval and eventually a sale, or eventually a home buyer.
Awesome. Great stuff, Tristan. And once they're qualified, they get issued a letter like this. This is like their golden ticket right here, huh? This is the golden ticket to start looking for homes after that, right?
Correct. Yeah. So this is based on the information. This letter is based on the information that we look at, that the client supplies us. We try to do a lot of research on the client, so when we do issue a pre-approval letter, we know that there's not going to be any problem. So what's going to happen is we're going to issue the pre-approval letter. The client's going to go out, shop for a house, and then once they get into contract, that's when your loan, and we'll package up your loan and we'll send it to a bank, right? And the bank will look at your paperwork, and they will be the ones who actually approve your loan. But we do a lot of work up front to make sure that we know 100% that bank's going to approve your loan for the most part.
Awesome. Awesome. Good stuff there. And guys, once again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box there. You'll see a chat box below. Feel free to type in any questions. All questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. And that will be followed by the $100 raffle. So stay with us. We got a lot of good content to cover today. We'll try to keep it as short and sweet as possible, but most importantly, you guys will walk away very experienced as a buyer, okay? So excellent, Tristan. Last thing about the loan, really quick. I know this is very, a lot of people are still a little confused on the differences between like FHA and conventional. So could you just briefly describe the FHA back compared to like a conventional, in a nutshell, if possible?
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. So I want to start with, you know, most of the time with a conventional or an FHA loan, you're going to pay some sort of mortgage insurance if you don't put down 20%, right? I just like to preface that. And mortgage insurance basically insures the bank of a default, right? So unless you're putting down 20% on a conventional loan, you're going to pay some sort of mortgage insurance. The main difference between, from my perspective, FHA and conventional loans is the borrower's FICO scores, right? So normally speaking, FHA loans will give better interest rates and mortgage insurance rates at lower FICO scores. So basically any client who's probably below a 700 FICO score, we're probably going to put them into an FHA loan because it's going to be the lowest payment for them. And if you do have a higher FICO score, most of the time, you know, 740 and above, we'll put you into a conventional loan because that's going to be the best interest rate. So it's really, you know, scenario by scenario, right? And it's talking to your loan officer about which product is best for you, what's going to be the best rate, what's going to be the best underwriting for your loan, and the best mortgage insurance rate. So it's really a conversation to have with your loan officer. The main differences are, I would say on a whole, if you have a lower FICO score, the FHA loan is going to be the best loan for you, right? If you have a higher FICO score, the conventional loan is going to be the best loan for you. I like to say too, if you're a veteran, the VA loan is going to be probably the best loan for you, because the VA loans don't carry any monthly mortgage insurance, and they're very low rates, which is great. So great opportunity for veterans to get in houses.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So right after you're dealing with someone like Tristan, who's going to take care of you, give you a great interest rate, or the loan, the lender you choose to work with, the next step of the buying process is the home search.